Microsoft has laid down the hammer on OpenAI in a move that was completely unexpected. We're going to get into this today more, but first, sorry about the video. I had shoulder surgery today, labrum, rotator cuff, bicep, all that was torn. Had to get replaced, a couple bones sucked out, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry about the goofy circumstances, but I did need to tell all of you out there about this. I saw the headline in the Register, went ahead, I researched it. Absolutely huge news. Oh, also, welcome to Ruben Tech. Please be sure to like and subscribe down below. So what's going on? Remember how I've always told you, since the very beginning on this channel, I've told you that when people talk about AI being in a bubble, what they're doing is misleading you because really the bubble is in certain sectors of AI. AI in general is going to go on and it's absolutely going to flourish. There's nothing at all to suggest anything otherwise. Oops, I didn't mean to hit that button. And today, something came out that I was shocked to hear, but that I didn't think would come from Microsoft especially. And what that was is that Satya came out on stage and kind of, I mean, it's a direct shot, I think, for anybody who understands what he's saying, but he basically stated that your data is not safe with OpenAI, with Anthropic. Now, he didn't say that directly, okay? He was saying it indirectly, but there's no other way to look into that comment. I would read it to you, but I have one hand and holding this camera is hard enough right now. And yeah, so sorry. But basically, he came on stage and he announced this. Now, why is this so crazy? Well, as you know, Microsoft has invested tens of billions of dollars into OpenAI. This is a significant sum, right? In fact, they're probably one of the largest investors in OpenAI. I haven't looked recently, you know, from what people have speculated, but I would imagine they're one of, if not the largest investor still in OpenAI. Could be SoftBank, but anyways, that doesn't matter. So for them to come out and announce that having your personal data, oh, and to be crystal clear, he was speaking to a corporate audience too. So when he's speaking to an audience that spends tons of money, right? And to have your data in their systems is dangerous because one, not only are they getting your money, but they're getting your data to train off of. You're giving them free data for them to train, to access, and to improve their systems, okay? Even if they're just analyzing your queries, they can see where their queries are weak, see the solutions that you find, and utilize those to improve their models, and they're not paying you for that. You're paying them for that. And so, of course, his solution, what is it? An aspect of the Microsoft Cloud that's set up where you can run these models or other models, and your data will never, ever be used for such purposes. And you can guarantee that through their tool dashboard and the tools that they have. And so you might say, well, Ruben, obviously, he's just promoting his own product. Well, of course he is, right? But he's promoting it at the expense of OpenAI and Anthropic. There's no other way to put it like that. And now I've told you in this space that since the beginning, the cloud providers are going to win no matter what. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, especially Google. Imagine you're Google. You have Gemini, and you're competing with Anthropic, and you're competing with OpenAI. And at the same time, Anthropic and OpenAI are buying compute from you. So they're selling, they're giving you money, they're giving you margin on every bit of AI that they sell. Not every bit, but whatever portion they sell off your servers. And not only that, but for the rest of their stuff, they have to pay the NVIDIA tax. Well, you don't. You have the best TPUs in the market. Okay? And so now Microsoft's going ahead and saying, hey, Don't access anybody outside of, don't access OpenAI or Anthropic directly. Get your AI through our cloud, where all you're doing is you're paying us to secure your data. And of course, that has an extra margin on it. I don't see what the difference would be, honestly. I was looking through it and I was like, why can't I just run this on regular servers I spin up on regular metal on Microsoft, you know? But I imagine what it is that the suite of tools that they provide to give you the confidence that everything's safe, right? And they're going to charge you a lot of money for that confidence. But this is like what I would say is the first shot across the bow from the Megacorps, the Microsofts, the Googles, the Amazons, at the AI frontier labs. I mean, how else can you pin this? There's no other way to look at this. Now, again, I've stated many times on here that I don't think Google would ever do this. Not that they wouldn't offer a product like this. They absolutely would. Of course they would. But they would never state something publicly, right, covered by the press to this huge crowd, something like this, for a multitude of factors. In fact, a commentator the other day, he was telling me, he's like, look at this response. He had asked Gemini something, and Gemini recommended that he goes to OpenAI. And I've talked about this on here, where it's actually hard to get Gemini to recommend itself. And you might say, well, that's weird. I've used other AIs and they always recommend themselves. Yeah, well, they're not Google. Google faces antitrust suits every day they wake up. So Google has already preemptively set up their AIs to get ready for the inevitable antitrust suits against them. So I would never imagine them saying something on stage like this, like from the CEO, documented. You might say, well, Microsoft faces antitrust. Yes, they do, but not like Google. Google and Facebook are like, oh my gosh, they get so many antitrust suits. It's unbelievable. You know, yeah, they keep lawyers rich. Let's just put it like that. But yeah, so Google would never say something like this out loud, but for Satya to come on stage and say this was absolutely incredible, just absolutely incredible. And this right here would be the biggest threat. People are talking about China, a threat. Of course it's a threat. But China ultimately has no real large play in the American market. And they'll even have a harder time in Western markets. I had a lot of guys come down into the comments that work in businesses over in Europe, and they're like, yeah, we use Anthropic, we use OpenAI, et cetera, et cetera. But the simple fact is that the people who are using Anthropic and OpenAI will absolutely be fine running those services on Microsoft in that special cloud and not passing that data on to them. Now, I don't know that Anthropic does something like that, but OpenAI you can, absolutely. And Google would have no problem saying, hey, we'll offer a section of our servers on our TPUs, which are cheaper, better, and we'll offer Gemini for you. And now you don't have to worry about this either. This, if the cloud providers were to ever turn completely on the frontier labs, that would wipe them out. Because remember, the frontier labs are building out through these. Anthropic's committed like $200 billion to Alphabet. OpenAI is committed, I believe, $300 to $400 billion, or maybe it's 3, to Microsoft. Okay, they have committed so much money to the cloud. And remember what I told you about the cloud? AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, these are things where they just rake in cash. They stack mountains of cash. And like I mentioned, they don't care really what you're running. Of course they would like their margins. Of course Google wants you to run Gemini so it can get proprietary margins. Of course Microsoft wants you to use a special part of their cloud so they can get proprietary margins there. But even if you're Airbnb and you're running Quinn, which is an open weights model from China, which you pay Alibaba not 1 single cent for, Microsoft is like, okay, run Quinn over here. We will gladly take your tens of millions and hundreds of billions of dollars. We have no problem with that. And so just remember, I'm bringing that up because these cloud providers, it's not like they're not competing against the AI frontier labs. They absolutely are. But to say something like this out loud, because remember, they're competing with them, but they're also serving them. They're their customers. And to say something like this out loud, that's pretty devastating. I mean, Sam Altman cannot be happy that Satya came out and said that. No way, no how. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about that down below. That's what I got for you today. All of you out there, have a great day.